Okay, so my wicked problem today is ocean pollution. I'm Sarah. So just to start out, ocean pollution is a really broad topic, and there are a lot of different types of ocean pollution. These can include ocean mining, oil spills, littering, land runoff, ocean dumping, and even noise pollution. A lot of animals use echolocation to communicate with other members of their group and to survey their surroundings. And when we do things like ocean mining and drilling and things like that, that sends out vibrations and messes with their echolocation. And today I'm going to just be focusing on littering and ocean dumping, primarily talking about plastics. But I just have these here to show you how this is a really complex issue, and there is a lot that goes into it. So a lot of our trash can end up in the oceans, and I have a quick little video for you.
The open plains of the
It's kind of funny, but it's serious.
Home to many creatures great and small, and the popping ground for one of the most clever and illustrious creatures, the plastic bag. Today we explore the cycle of life for this curious creature, the plastic bag, on its migration to its home, the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, sorry.
Once released into the wild, the plastic bag is unsure of itself. It falters at first, but soon, with some help from the wind, the bag will be airborne. This flight will be the first in its long journey towards its final destination, the garbage patch in the heart of the Pacific Ocean. Using the wind to guide it, the plastic bag moves across the city through the air. A city park. This park may at first seem an idyllic place for the plastic bag, but danger lurks round every corner. Here it will encounter many enemies, including one of the most dangerous, park services. Poor little fellow. Looks like his journey ends here. Meanwhile, the little bag has encountered one of nature's most deadly killers, the teacup Yorkie. Once the Yorkie has locked onto its victim, there's very little hope of survival. But using its superior size and deft maneuvering, our bag manages to escape the Yorkie's talons and flee for its life. Over the course of its miraculous migration, the plastic bag will cover vast distances through neighborhoods, across parks, and down city streets. It is now nightfall, and our highly advanced night vision cameras have managed to capture for the first time in history a plastic bag in pitch black. Phenomenal. The vast cement rivers of California, home to literally dozens of animals. Many plastic bags will not make it out of here. The reeds and branches will see to that. As at home in water as it is on land or in the air, the bag's natural buoyancy makes it an excellent swimmer. It's close now, and it can feel it. At last, the bag has reached the gateway to the open sea. Careful to avoid the mouths of hungry sea life that feed on the helpless plastic, the bag will travel hundreds of miles to join the thriving community of plastic known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The Garbage Patch is a veritable plastic oasis where millions of tons of plastic garbage remain trapped by the currents. It is said to be twice the size of Texas. Never actually biodegrading, here the plastic bag can live indefinitely, peacefully coexisting with billions of other petroleum species before breaking into ever tinier plastic pieces, thus completing the plastic cycle of life.
Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. So that was kind of a funny video, but it was actually really true, and that Great Pacific Pacific Garbage Patch is real, and so it really just shows how our everyday trash can end up in our oceans. And this can provide continuous harm to organisms. Plastic is really great at harboring large quantities of bacteria and microorganisms, and then those can come into contact with other organisms and get them sick, and it can cause coral bleaching. Animals can choke on this plastic, or they can get trapped in it and they can drown. And this plastic never goes away. It breaks down into little tiny microplastics. And then these are ingested by these organisms, and they can't digest them, so they constantly feel full, so they never feel a need to eat, and then they starve to death. And one study by Science Daily found that there are 11.1 billion plastic items in the Asia-Pacific reefs right now, and that number is going to increase to 15.7%. Otherwise seen as a 40% increase in the next 7 years. And when you think about how long we've been on this planet and we're able to increase our waste by 40% in 7 years, I think that really says a lot. So how is this a wicked problem? A few weeks ago we had to watch an interview with Robert Reich, and he is the economic analyst. In that interview he talked about it's not the actions of the people that are irrational, but the rules of the game. And so I thought that really applied to my problem, because plastic is considered essential to many people. A lot of those reasons are financial. People have to put food on the table and pay their rent. And plastic is a low cost and a high availability. And we rely heavily on plastic items. I mean, what about you? Think about the amount of times that you come into contact with plastic just today. The numbers are really, really incredible when you look at it. I think of it as the salad versus the burger at the drive-thru. If you're trying to feed a family of 4, you're not going to go to the drive-thru and order the $5 salad. You're going to order one of the 7 types of dollar burgers that they have on the menu and feed your family for $4 rather than $20. It just comes down to money a lot of the time. A lot of the time families would, I think if you asked everybody, would you like to save the planet? Would you like to stop marine animals from dying? Everyone would hopefully say yes, but the reality is that some people just can't get away from this plastic. They can't not use that every day. They rely on it. And then it's also an issue for companies because they would have to pay more to use organic or biodegradable products in a lot of instances. And recycling and waste removal can be costly for these large companies. And these companies are trying to make a profit and keep their costs down. It again comes back to finances a lot of the time. Again, companies, I'm sure if you asked every CEO, would you like to save the world? Would you like to save our planet? A lot of them would be really enthusiastic about that and want to, but when it comes down to it, the rules of the game are just hard when you try and cut out those kinds of things. And when you think about it, would you want to pay more for items that you use every day, that you buy every day, if they didn't contain plastic? Probably not in a lot of instances. It depends on how much you would be willing to pay and for what items. But if you're not going to pay more, if these companies have to increase their prices to pay more for these biodegradable products rather than using plastic, those prices are going to rise, and then the everyday consumer is not going to be able to afford that or won't want to spend that kind of money. That's going to decrease profits of the businesses in the long run anyway. So a lot of the times it's just not a great option for companies and consumers both. So the key variables for this wicked problem are the low cost and the high availability of plastics, the extra cost for waste removal and recycling for large companies, the extra cost for switching to biodegradable materials, the large amounts of waste produced by large companies, the litter produced by everyday consumers, and the everyday consumers' dependence on plastics. So there are a few leverage points with this problem. One of them are policies and regulations. For example, creating tax breaks for green companies can offset some of the costs of switching to more biodegradable products. And then just regulating things like ocean dumping, when and where you can dump and how much waste you can produce. And then there's also communication, I think, is a really big area. You need to communicate between our governments and our large companies what our policies are, what are the best ways to work together to get us to the best outcome. And then education. Some people, money isn't an issue, but they might not know about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, or they might not know the effects that one plastic straw can have in the environment to animals every day. So for some people, the rules of the game aren't really an issue. They just might not know. So I think education is really big for a lot of these, a lot of people. So what can we do? One of the main things that we can try to do is we can tax plastic bags. If you have to pay more to use a plastic bag at a grocery store, you're going to be more inclined to bring your own reusable bags. San Francisco actually has a ban on plastic bags, so you're not allowed to have them at grocery stores, so you're not allowed to even use them at all, so that really cuts down on the amount used. I said earlier, tax breaks for green companies. They're going to be more inclined to go green and get tax breaks. And then recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle. We've heard it forever, but that's really one of the best ways to just reduce our amount of waste that we have. So it's doable, it's not impossible, but the issue here is that the damage is irreversible in many of these cases. So we need to do something quickly before it gets to be too late. And to create a solution is going to require commitment from many different areas. Those are my references.